Hello my friends and welcome back to EVE Online with me, Mark from DadX, and I'm in my Cormorant Navy issue, which I should not be in. I logged in about 4 minutes ago. I haven't even figured out where the zone is, let alone get in it yet. I popped out here just to get some scripts for a sensor booster. I could have popped out in my nice sub 2 second incursors as I showed you in the last video, and I've shown you before but I didn't, and the gate was clear so I popped out. So now I'm popping back in. It has been, I would say, less than 3 minutes since I came through this gate and it was clear. And all those ships come out as I go in. And I go in. And there's a Gnosis. Now, I'm really not with it at this stage. As I said, I literally just logged in. I haven't even finished my shreddies, seriously. With hindsight, I maybe could have burnt back to the gate and got through, but I just can't be bothered. I dive in there. I may have forgotten I'm not in a blaster Cormorant. I'd actually refitted this ship to go and do a bit of hunting, which is what the scripts were actually for. So we're going to lose our Cormorant Navy issue. I kind of half hoping somebody's going to come back through the gate and put some DPS on this guy and he go down quite quickly. A lot of the damage he's taking here, by the way, is the gate guns, not me. He is getting hit by the gate guns. But we're going to lose a ship. I haven't lost a ship for a very long time. The ship is paid for, I think, about 20 times over. So we're just going to see if our little first thing in the morning sacrifice to the loot fairy pays off. As you can see, we now have 3 timers on the screen. The first is the Capsuleer log off timer. You can't log off for 15 minutes. You get that timer when you shoot or aggress somebody, or somebody else shoots you or aggresses you. The second is the weapons timer. Because I've fired at him for 60 seconds, I cannot jump through a gate, I cannot dock, I cannot tether, and I can't eject. And that timer will count the 60 seconds from when you stop shooting at the other guy or drop your tackle. If you've got plenty of tank outside a station or on a gate, you do have the option to stop shooting the other guy, wait a minute, and then you can dock and jump the gate. But you'll need a lot of tank to do that, at least comparative to their damage output. So it's important to remember, if you're going to try and burn back to the gate, do not shoot at the guy that's shooting at you, because then you can't jump through that gate for a minute. And the third timer is the limited engagement timer, which is a 5-minute timer between me and that pilot, meaning we can freely engage each other anywhere in space, or even out into ISEC. And here's me doing it properly in the Incursus, only this time I'm carrying sensor booster scripts, sensor boosters and railguns, so I can refit the other Cormorant Navy issue I've already got back home. And as you can see, it's hello gate camp, see you later gate camp. So that's exactly what I should have done the first time. So there you go. Here's me messing up so you don't have to. Very educational. But the gate camp that was in the last video actually got hit the day after that video went up. Nothing to do with me at all. They just, I think somebody from the PvP corp in the neighbouring pocket got landed in it and got destroyed. And he went and got his mates. The gate camp lost 2.3 billion. And the guys that came to get them lost 1.3. And over half of that was 1 Orpheus that died in that fight. But we did get to confirm the fits of the Gnosis that were in the camp, and they were armor tanked, as I guessed. Just staying with the doctrine of the reps. Somebody did comment that a hull tank would work very well on a gate camp, and it would, especially if there was just you and a mate. But it was just from the doctrine of the fleet, really, that I went for it being armor tanked. And this time I was right, but I know I'm not always right. And here's the Cormorant. I lost about 32 million's worth of Navy issue Cormorant. As I say, more than paid for. Not my greatest moment. I probably could have made it to that gate with some hindsight and looking at the video. It's more than paid for. It doesn't matter. It's kind of ammo, really. It was starting to smell. It was so old. I've had that for months. I've had that since they were like 3 days old into the game. But let's see if we can make that ISK back using the power of the Alpha Heron with 2 Memetic algorithm banks to boost up the virus coherence of the data analyzer to a whopping 90. Because that's what we're going to need for these hacks. We are going all in on the data analyzer. We are using Sisters Core Scanner probes because we are not using the rig to boost our core scanner strength. So they are necessary just to make the scans nice and quick. But there's no trouble scanning these sites down at all. In fact, I was actually out here in a Tech 1 Cormorant, a regular Cormorant, scoping around, scanning down sites in that, so no boosts, and I was scanning down the signatures, no problem. But let's see how we get on with the hacking. I'm going to put the fit for this ship, for this specific fit, down in the description. It is my regular fit. Key to it is the cargo scanner. It's why I like the Herons. I've got the two modules, the Relic Analyzer, the Data Analyzer, the Microwarpdrive for getting around, and the Scan Rangefinding array, which just boosts your scan strength by 5%, which is helpful with the alpha skills capped very low for hacking and scanning. The cargo scanner just told me that there's 95,000 worth of loot in that first box. I'm actually carrying on scanning other signatures while I'm up here. I've got local to myself, so I'm very relaxed right now. Obviously the priority, if there are other people in local, is keeping an eye on your D-scan, seeing what else is about. Knowing that you're in quite an easy place to find, locals may even already have these sites bookmarked and just left them waiting to see an exploration frigate on it. Anyway, second box, just under 300,000, so nothing to write home about yet. Now obviously using the cargo scanner means that you could find the one with the most loot in it, i.e. the one with 20.4 million in it, and make a point of hacking that one first. Whatever ship you are in, you know, i.e. if you could use a cloak, which the alphas can't, even if you're cloaked up most of the time, when you're on a site is when you're the most vulnerable. So if local was busy, I would definitely be scanning these containers, hacking the one with the most loot in, and maybe just moving on if the other two are really low value. And these sites do despawn quite quickly once you've started hacking them, as I found earlier on when I tried to put a perch on one for the Cormorant. So you don't really have to worry about leaving a box or two on a site and that clogging up the respawns, as it does with regular data and relic sites. If you leave those in your local, you're just stopping it from respawning. But anyway, let's get into this hack. Now if you've never hacked in low sec, wormholes, null sec before, you might not be familiar with some of the things you run up against in here. But do not be fearful. Firstly, you have unlimited attempts at these hacks on these site boxes, which is really good. So when local's quiet like this, you can just take your time, relax, and, you know, practice basically. Because there's things in here that get a bit complicated. Now the thing we picked up there is a secondary vector, and we want to save that for particularly nasty things. That does damage remotely. You click on it, then you click on the thing you want to attack, then you click on other nodes, so you don't take any damage, which is good. That one there is a restoration node. If you haven't seen that before, we need to kill that straight away because it will reinforce one random other node on the chart every time you click anywhere. And the other one you may never have seen before is this one right here, the virus suppressor. This weakens your virus coherence by -15, so they need to go down as the absolute priority, and you really want to save the secondary vectors to take those down. But in fact we found the key, or the lock I should say, I guess, straight away. So that was a very simple hack, and I'm going to tell you now, not really a spoiler, that this is the most expensive single box I've found out of probably about 30 now, and it was the most straightforward hack of the lot. As I've said time and time again, the hardness of a hack and the loot in that box are not related at all, absolutely not. I've skipped ahead to the next site I went to. Overall on this site I got about 5 million, but I've got 20 million off that first site. I left the second and third box because that was actually the site that I left as a kind of a bit of a bait, and then realised it despawned. But yeah, the second site got me 5 mil, so over the course of those two sites, 30 million loot in 10 minutes. That's not bad going for an alpha in a 5 mil Heron. I've moved on to a third site. I've got about 5 million off of it. There's been a little bit of activity in local, although the other three guys seem to have been just passing through quite quickly. But it did seem like a timely reminder to put some of this loot away, because that's how you actually make money in low sec. You don't want to be out there carrying on doing hacking or ratting as a bit of a loot pinata yourself. Make sure you drop it off, keep it safe, and get it out when you know things are reasonably quiet. So we're going to dock up. So from those three sites, if we take off the sisters probes, we have made Says bang on 30 million there. Lovely. I'm going to put that in this little box down at the bottom. Keep all the event loot. In fact, the loot that I make today is going to go in that box. It's not all hacking loot. A little spoiler there for you. But we're off to a good start. We've got a bit of general loot in there, plus a nice Shadow Serpentis Warp Disruptor I got off of a Belt Rat Frigate Shadow Serpentis Rat. They're rare, but it happens. But we'll keep that loot I already had in there separate from the count, and we'll head back out to another site. There's a couple of people in local, so we're going to very actively descan. What we're looking out for now are core scanner probes, just getting sites scanned down, combat scanner probes, or any ships just of note really. I think we've been in here long enough to feel confident, to feel reasonably confident that nobody has got any of these sites scanned down just to warp straight up to. They turn over too quickly because we keep hacking them. Haha. Right, so let's get in here, get scanned, see what this site has to offer us. Hopefully it's not an all for us. So we're going to scan the boxes. 2.2 million in the first box. The second box, guys, 10 million ISK in loot. We'll go for that one first. I shouldn't be bouncing off of this box like I am. I should be orbiting. You don't want to be moving so slowly just in case anyone decloaks. Makes all kinds of sense. If anyone is scaring us, putting us off, we can just hack this one and leave the other two, knowing we got the vast majority of the loot from this site. But we'll do what we can, of course. I'm going to speed up the footage now as I just do a few more hacks just to show you what's going on. This is the 10mm box. Nothing too horrible in here. Just make sure you get that nasty virus suppressor down straight away should one spawn. Now we are going to hack the second box, 1.8 million, and watch how complicated these ones are. I'm getting double virus suppressors, getting restoration nodes. It's very, very heavy going, and this is for the lowest loot on the site, remember. Got a couple of people in local with me, but I can see no sign of them on D-scan, and it's really the probes. Even if they were cloaked up, they'd have to find the site or my ship to come and give me some aggravation right now. I'm pretty sure of that. But if you don't feel comfortable, just leave. You've got 2 Herons worth of loot in your hold already, and they don't. So finally I get into that hack for the 1.8 million, but it all counts. And I also hang around, take the third box. So I've cleared that site, go and dock up, drop off the loot, which is 14 million from that run. Nice and tidy. That's almost 3 new Herons off of one site. So you can't tell me that this isn't an ideal opportunity to have your first go in low sec. Come in a 5-6mm ship, perhaps the first box, but certainly the first site, you will be in profit and have money for spare ships. That is how I play low sec. Come in cheap ships, get them paid off, get a spare one, and then have more fun. Start to relax a little bit, learn your way around. But nice selection of loot. I don't know what the contract only stuff will sell for, we'll see. Do bear in mind event loot can lose value quite quickly during the event, especially when some of the items in that loot are brand new items into the game. They'll be worth a fortune at the beginning, and it will slowly kind of normalise. Just as it did when the Navy issue destroyers came into the game. I've got a key here that counts as a shortcut on the combat sites, and if I get some time this week I will be running some combat sites, see what we can get up to there. But we're doing pretty well so far. 44 million almost. Some stuff that can go on contract worth a little bit more. The Cormorant we lost is paid for and we're in profit now, so that's very good. And this is all in about 30 minutes of play. 1.5 mil a minute in the Alpha Heron. That's not bad going at all, is it? Right, I've hacked all the sites that are out there now, so I'm going to have a little break off the eve, and then I'm going to come back and do a little bit of ratting in a very cheap Cormorant, a 10mm Cormorant. We're waiting for some more sites to spawn, so here we are. We've gone through all of the asteroid belts and we've blown up all of the rats we found. It was a very low level kind of spawn in the system at this stage. The best rat, the biggest rat, was this battleship, which we took down pretty quickly. Nothing too flash, probably about 1.7 mil in a bounty and some loot. But what we're going to do now is it takes about 15 minutes or so to actually get through all the belts in this system and rat them out. I'm now just going to chill out for about 10 minutes, come back out, and start doing the same thing again. Just go from every belt to belt, and if you take down all of the rats on the belts in the system, I have definitely found the spawns will get better. And here we found our first clone soldier. Now we're going to hit approach and then the Microwarpdrive, but as soon as we've turned round, we're going to click in space so we're not flying straight at him, because we don't want him to have really good application of damage, because he's got a lot of damage. And as we get in close, we want to get into an orbit within about 1500 meters ideally. We've got the void loaded in the Tech 2 blasters, and we need to web him. He webs us and we need to web him. The Tech 2 blasters and the web are essential to the success of this technique in the destroyer, I have found. You need to slow him down, otherwise you can't apply your damage properly and he will blow you to pieces. I also landed about 20 kilometers away from this clone soldier, which was ideal. I was right there, could burn in close, so he can't really hit me at all. All we've got to do now is keep an eye on local. If someone lands on the belt, we just warp off, unless we don't want to warp off. In the 0.1 system, the clone soldier will put a warp disruptor on you. It can make you much more vulnerable. The tags are worth a little bit more right now, but in the 0.2 they're just going to web you. And this is a 10mm Cormorant fit. It's a Cormorant with Tech 2 blasters, a medium shield extender, a mag stab, a rocket for the all important extra DPS. The web is essential, as is the Microwarpdrive, to burn in close. You can't do this with an afterburner, you'll die. And as you can see, those tags are selling for 30mm each out in StackMod. There's even buy orders for 25mm. Happy days. So basically you come in here, you get one clone soldier, you've got enough for your Cormorant Navy issue pretty much. 2 tags and you're golden. I took down another battleship, a higher grade one. I think it was a 900,000 ISK bounty, and it dropped almost 2 million loot. But some of these modules are very big, so you may want to start being a little bit selective, especially if you're further away from home. Obviously I'm in my local, so I can drop it off at any stage, but it's something to bear in mind. Do start being a little bit selective on your loot when you are going on a bit of a roam. I had an extended break and made myself something to eat. So this is about an hour later after we took down the last clone soldier. Come back out and we found another clone soldier. Lovely. I'm going to speed up the footage for this one just to move things along, so don't be absolutely amazed at how quickly I take it down or how fast I am flying, please. So exactly the same process for this one. We've landed about 22k away initially. Burn in with the Microwarpdrive, not straight at the clone soldier. Web him, shoot him. Control range as best you can, sometimes just because of the relative angles and travels of direction. You can drop range, so make sure you're staying in your optimal. We can take a bit of damage as we are now, but we're in close enough for me to know we can ride this out. So I'm not concerned. We're alone in local, so at least nobody's going to join the party. But we can be brave. We're in a 10mm ship taking down a 30mm rat, and we've already put one tag away. As I said, this technique needs me to take down everything on the belts, and I've just taken down these destroyers and frigates. And as you will see, even they can be juicy. That module right there is worth almost 5 million. It's worth a lot because of the minerals it crushes into. But yeah, they are quite a regular drop, and it's just the little frigates and destroyers that tend to drop them. We'll get back to a little bit of hacking now. I've seen some sites have respawned. Or I guess to be technical, some new sites have spawned. My cargo scanner tells me there's 5mm in the first box, so we'll get to hacking that. I'm going to speed this footage up and just cut to some of the loot drops, and we'll get on with it. First hack on this site is pretty straightforward, to be honest. Only one attempt required. The next two I've cut out all the failed attempts. I think one of them took 5 goes. But I got the loot in the end, and I'm very happy to say the third box, which I'd forgot to scan, had 9 million in it. So it's 5 million in the first box, about 500,000 I think in the second box, 9 million in the third box, up to about 16 million I think in total off the first site. And we've got another one to warp straight to, so that's really good. And we've still got local to ourselves. 2 systems away is pretty noisy. It always is. 3 systems away is usually mayhem. But I'm out here at the back and I'm liking it. The first box on this site had 189,000 in it. This one has got about 4.4 million in it, so that's much nicer. And the last box on this site had about 400 grand. So this site about 5 million. That seems to be the minimum. That doesn't include some of the stuff that maybe I can sell on contract, but 5 million seems to be the minimum. About 10 million the average, 10 to 12. So overall, for our exploits so far, if we take off those, dump that in there, we are up to the princely sum of 129 million ISK in loot from the hacking and a couple of clone soldier tags. Absolutely lovely. Then I watched a movie with my lovely other half, an old film noir, The Third Man, Orson Welles, very good. Still don't get the ending. I popped out in the Cormorant for one last time a couple of hours later, just to see if I could find a Mordu spawn or a Shadow Serpentis. I found another clone soldier. I didn't find either of the other two. Mordu seemed very rare. I'll keep working on it. This one gives me a little bit of a kick in. I'm going to show you why and how. Basically, as I come in close and I turn back in towards him here for my orbit, I lose all traversal, I lose all kind of relative speed. He's webbing me, I'm webbing him, and he can start applying some very good damage to me here. But we do not need to panic. You can see that the damage coming in is very steady. I'm a lonely local, so again, I'm kind of quite relaxed. We're going to fire up the Microwarpdrive eventually to get in a little bit closer. Once we're in tightly, the damage will drop off, I promise you. We're going to get into Hull, but to be honest, another clone soldier tag and being in Hull and surviving is basically a very good way for me to round off the day. And remember, if you're never in Hull, then you're flying too dull. We're not taking any more damage now. We're in nice and close. We are completely in control, just the way it should be. So we've had a very nice day. Started off with a loss, probably about an hour and a half maybe hacking and scanning in the little old Heron, and I've been out in the Cormorant for a couple of hours ratting. I did pop out in a caracal and I ended up setting some bookmarks and setting up a couple of overview tabs, but that was about some hunting. We'll have a look at that another time. But all in all, by the time I got home, was safe and sound. This is actually the next morning because I forgot to do this bit. Our loot had accumulated to the tune of 157 million ISK, all earned in a 10mm Cormorant and a 5mm Heron. If I just tidy this up a little bit like this, then we'll just see how much I got with the Cormorant, how much I got with the Heron. So this stuff down the bottom is from the belt rats. I'm not really counting the smaller modules, they're not of much value. So we've got 91 million down here. That's the Cormorant score from clone soldier tags. So it's not consistent ISK per hour or ISK per minute at all, low sec life, but it accumulates. And then we've got 65mm from the Heron from the data sites plus the modules, but I don't think they're of much value. So yeah, 65mm for the Heron, 91, nearly 92mm for the Cormorant. It was a very good day. I'm going to leave you there. Please come into low sec and try this out in a cheap ship. You should make some ISK, you will have some fun, and you will learn some stuff. So I'm going to leave you in peace for now. Please leave me some more comments down below. Have you given this a go? Has this inspired you? How have you been getting on? I did hack some sites just before I actually finished this off on, where are we now, Wednesday, and the loot hadn't been nerfed seriously. The least I've got is about 5mm. The average is probably about 10mm. Some sites are much, much better. Leave your in-game name in your comment if you want a chance of getting a ship skin. I shall be sending out the ship skins for the last video later on this evening. Well done. Thank you all for your feedback. It was very, very positive. I love it. Thank you very much. Very encouraging. Subscribe if you want to stay in touch. Click that notification bell if you want to know when the next video is going to be out, which is probably going to be something to do with a caracal and a 3 out of 10 in low sec, but we'll see. And leave the video a like if you have found it enjoyable and or informative, or hopefully a combination of both. But for now, my friends, I'm going to leave you in peace. Look after yourself and each other, and remember, even is believing. Fly brave, and goodbye.